My name is Amanda Bolwell with homesanytime.com. And when it comes to your home, I'd like to advise you, guide you, and inspire you. And today, a little bit of inspiration because I'm speaking to Will Lestrange. He is a feng shui consultant, and he's going to give us some background into the feng shui principles. Thank you so much for talking to me today, Will.
Thank you so much for asking me to come and do this. I'm looking forward to it. And yeah, I love talking about feng shui and introducing people to this idea of how we can live in alignment with our environment. And when we can do that, life seems to get a little bit better, actually. It shows up in the old promise in feng shui is feng shui for health, wealth, and happiness. And you go, well, it can't do all of those things, but it can contribute to elements of life that we can optimize areas of our life to be better if we're in a stable base that's aligned to support our needs. So that really is the principle of feng shui. So yeah, I look forward to jump into that.
Okay, all right. Well, can you just explain to us how, if someone moves into a brand new home and they feel like they really need to bring some good energy into their space, how would they go about that?
Okay, right. So first of all, we have to think about the inside of the home and then the outside of the home. The outside of the home is harder to change and harder to control because there are elements going on outside, the road, the neighbors, whatever's going on, trees, telephone poles, you name it. There's all sorts of things going on outside that really we don't have much control over. But the inside of the house is something that we can really control and change. And we can either do it through light, color, placement of objects, the furniture, the way it's arranged, the positioning of furniture. We can talk a little bit about the position of a bed or the position of a dining area. So you think about the main areas where we gather as a family or as whoever's living in the house. And so the bed position is really important. So put that into a command position. Use relaxing colors and lighting in that space, and artwork in the space that supports the ability to relax and let go. It's really simple. We're not looking at a McDonald's play area in the bedroom. Yeah. We don't need too much stimulation. That can be in other parts of the house, but the bedroom is just about to be able to relax and recharge and recover our energy on a daily basis. Living rooms need to have a focal point. It's always important to have a focal point in the room, which is somewhat contingent upon the point of entry into that room. Now, a lot of American homes, unlike European homes, are really designed in the round. All rooms are connected to one another, and they're walk-through rooms. You walk through one room to get to the next room to get to the next room. So they're kind of like half corridor, half room. So there's always energy moving through it, which is actually more of a microcosm metaphor for American life. American life never rests. It's on the go all the time. New York, the city that never sleeps. It's like American culture never truly rests. It's always active in some way or another. If you go to Europe, everything shuts down at a certain time of the day, or siesta culture. Everything they shut the shutters, shut the light out. It goes darker, restful, more yin, all of that. So most American homes are very energized, and even with central air, that we don't have a focal point. Originally, the focal point in a home would have been the fireplace, the hearth of the home. The hearth is the same root word as heart. It's the heart of the home. Okay. We gather at the heart of the home and sit around a fire and tell our stories to each other, since the start of humankind. Yes. Well, nowadays, the fireplace has been taken over by the TV, right? Yeah. Like flickering images telling stories to us, and we sit around and sofas and sectional. Remember, the sofa never existed before the TV. Sofas are only popular because TVs became popular. Before that, you had a chaise longue, a long chair. Yeah. Sitting in a row, we've all got to sit and look at something. You don't sit in a row and trying to talk to each other.
That's true. Yes.
So designed to look at a focal point. And now we've got sophisticated L-shaped units or sectional units to gather around and watch the entertainment.
Watch the TV.
Yeah. And so the focal point is either your fireplace, which is architecturally the traditional focal point, or if you don't have a fireplace, like a lot of modern homes don't now, because it's all central air, everything's heated with a central heating cooling system, we have to then establish focal points in the room, or in other words, gathering points. It's the point that we naturally head towards and we sit and gather around. So if you think about a dining room table, the focal point of a dining room table is actually the center of the table. And so oftentimes we center it with a light fixture over the top.
That's right.
How many homes have you been into where there's the light fixture's hanging there, but the table's over there?
Yeah, it's moved.
Just because the size of the table changed or some other furniture, and it feels immediately out of balance. You go, what? Oh, now I'm sitting under the light fixture and the table.
Yeah.
It just feels off. So we try and set these places up with natural focal points or gathering points where we, as a family or the people in the home, are going to gather and and remember, what we do is we tell our stories to each other.
Mm-hmm.
That hasn't changed at the start of time. So if I'm sat on a sofa and I've either got to turn myself and sort of sit back this way and whoever I'm speaking with, but if there's three of us, it doesn't work. Mm-hmm. So we always design on points of three. So the focal point, whether it's TV, fireplace, sofa, lazy boy, and we're in relationship on points of three. So it's normally a focal point and then two other points, which means instead of being at 180 degrees, we don't normally use 180 as a design principle other than formal interviews where we sit opposite one another, mm-hmm. or romantic dinner dates where we want to sit opposite each other and gaze into one another's eyes. Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. If it's an interview, it's just too intense. You go, where do I look when I'm not looking at you? And you feel uncomfortable, right? Well, there's a weird feeling inside us.
Yeah.
Well, I don't want to look at anyone else other than just you because I'm interested in you. That's the romantic side of it.
Right.
No, that's too intense. So we bring a third point in. So now instead of being 180 degrees, we're at 120 degrees. We're on a triangle now instead of a straight line, which means when I'm not talking to you and you're not looking at me, we can both look at the same point over there. It's like a legitimate spot that we've got an unwritten agreement, an unconscious agreement. I'm not looking at you. We're both looking at that. So we're still connected. So
but it's more comfortable.
Yeah. We feel this is what it's about, comfort and security. And so, it could be therapist, client, box of tissues. All right. It could be, if I'm working in a therapist's office, it's the coffee table with the interesting books on there, or the box of tissues. Whatever. So we're here. So it's 3 points. So in our homes, we can have a focal point and then design on points of three around that, and everything relaxes around that.
Okay, yeah. And that's what it's all about. It's how you feel in your own space.
Yep.
And that's what we want, is we want to feel relaxed and we want to be at home.
Yeah. So then color comes into it. That's really important.
Okay.
Color. I've got a slide I could show you, which would just... All right, so this image... Okay, so this image is... See, in Feng Shui, we always have yin and yang, and then yin and yang is divided into 5 qualities. This all comes from nature. It comes from water, which is the element of water. So we can divide qi into 5 qualities. So there's a deep settled feeling. Mm-hmm. There's an upward and outward growth feeling, like the spring when everything's bursting up out of the earth. That's the feeling. That's like the gesture of wood does that.
Okay.
Fire is radiant. Think about fire just as radiant, and all the energy just spreads in all directions.
Light and heat, yeah.
Everything comes from a central source and then burns outward.
Mm-hmm.
Earth always gathers. The feeling of earth gathers itself in. Earth naturally settles and gathers again. And then the metal chi is where earth becomes really condensed, where minerals become diamonds under pressure, or organic matter becomes coal, or fossil fuel under thousands of years of compression. It's like really condensed thinking, where you get lots of ideas and then you condense that thinking into one focal point idea. And Steve Jobs somewhere had loads of ideas that became this. All right, it's sort of that's metal element. So life is a combination. This is winter. The water is winter. This is spring. This is summer. This is fall, or Indian summer, when we gather the crops in. And then metal is the fall, before, when everything starts to get cold and condensate. before it goes back into winter again. So all of this
Okay.
is a natural agricultural cycle. And each
Mm-hmm.
of these qualities are associated in feng shui, we associate with colors and shapes and associations, metaphoric associations. And so water is anything that flows, it's the color, all the watery colors, blues and blacks and aquas and turquoise. There's glass, it's mirror, it's reflective surface. That's the water element. And we
Mm-hmm.
want the wood element is anything to do with plants and flowers and pictures of growth. It's the greens, the green spectrum, pillars and columns and vertical shapes.
Okay.
Each of these elements have associated shapes and colors and qualities to them. And we want a home that reflects all five of them, because then it's like food on a plate. It's balanced and seasoned correctly.
Okay.
We've got our
Okay.
carbs, our protein, we've got these things that are balanced for us. But in a modern language, without having to become a student of feng shui, we can become a student of common sense and just go, okay, the water element is space. So
Mm-hmm.
what is space? Is this a 2,000 square foot ranch home, or is it a 2,000 square foot townhouse on 3 floors?
Mm-hmm.
What is the space we're playing with here?
Mm-hmm.
Then it's about the clarity. How do we divide the space up? How is the kitchen separate from the dining, separate from the living, separate from the bedrooms, separate from the storage, separate from the bathroom? You think about how we like to divide things up according to the way we use them. And sometimes, if you're in a home office, but that is also your kitchen table, that's two very different activities that are blurring and blending. And if
Mm-hmm.
you're on a business call, you don't really want to see the cooker in the background when you're trying.
No.
Do you know what I mean? So we
Right.
need to divide the space up with clarity. So it's how do we make clear design decisions to clarify the spaces and separate spaces, but also clarity is about how do we connect those spaces as well.
Okay, yeah, especially in the design today where everything is so open plan. You walk into the front door and you immediately see your kitchen, there's no walls, and then there's the dining room, there's no walls, and it immediately flows into the living room and the fireplace is on the side, and it's essentially one huge room. So I guess with furniture, you need to try and make that division somehow in order to get that clarity.
Exactly, you create zones, and often the way to do that is you change the flooring. If you think often you might have a tiled, we do that. Designers will put a tile in the dining area,
Hmm.
and maybe then a hardwood floor where it goes from dining to in the kitchen area with tile. But maybe if there's a nook or something that may still be tiled, or it may be hardwood, and then we come over hardwood. Most of the first floor is going to be hardwood, and often we carpet upstairs, second
Yeah.
floor for sound insulation mainly.
Hmm.
That's so we can do it by zoning by floor material to begin
Okay.
with color and the layout and the placement and the arrangement of furniture. But yeah, I mean that open plan thing is very American
Yeah.
idea. We
Yeah.
don't quite see it so much in Europe. There is a trend towards it, but it's also about feeling spacious.
Yeah.
When we buy a home, we're buying light and space. That's what we're doing. With a roof over it. And so we try to get the feelings to be as spacious as possible, but it comes with its challenges. How do we? Sound travels across those barriers. So you've got a TV on
Yes.
over here.
Yeah.
In Europe, we often have a TV room where the kids, go and it's quite a small room. In America, we have a theater room. Where it's
Yeah.
dark
Yeah.
and it's mimic like a movie theater, but really,
Uh-huh.
it's a room with a big duvet, a sofa, and a duvet, and we all sit under that and watch TV. And then the TV's not on in the other room while we're, having family time together. It's a different experience. So these are
Right.
cultural sides. Richness is how do we bring nature into our space? In other words, all the textures and the surfaces and the colors and the feeling and the elements that we see outside our window. There's no straight lines out there. There are man-made, but in nature there are no straight lines. Everything's spirals, circles, and flow. So different textures and colors and richness of all of that. How do we bring that? Or is it very minimalist, just all blank walls and solid surfaces? And that's totally fine too. That's just a design preference if you like that. And there can also, but we need the feeling of richness in our life. Otherwise, we feel kind of monoculture. We feel a little bit kind of flat, or we crave under stimulus because there's too much stimulus outside in the world. when we come back, we want a minimalist feeling. There's a
Right.
trend to that right now. Decluttering, simpler lifestyle, simpler lines, neutral colors. There's that urge towards what we call it, greige now, grey beige.
Yes. Yes.
And, trying to sort of that's trying to make order out of chaos, basically. Life is chaotic enough out there, and we just want our homes to be kind of flat and neutral and vanilla in some ways.
Yeah.
Also, it's easier when developers are selling a home like that, because they don't want to put too much character into a home, because you want to appeal to the biggest audience possible.
Exactly. Yeah. So other people can see themselves. If it's kind of blank, they can imagine their own things in there.
Yeah, that's a really important thing. And also, if you're trying to sell a home, you need to remove as much of your personality out of that home as possible when you stage it. Part of the staging of a home is to remove your personality, so someone else can imagine their personality in a home.
Exactly. Yes.
So warmth, this is a really important energy. Warmth is that affection, the feeling of affection in a home. That can be tiny little pictures of loved ones. It doesn't have to be a massive display.
Yeah.
Trinkets, collectibles, things like that have a strong sense of meaning to us.
Yeah, sentimental.
Sentimental, as well as warm color, physically warm colors that bring a warmth to a place. Lots of pattern brings that feeling of warmth. Nostalgia, actually, homes that have quite nostalgic feelings about them. Collectibles, historic, baseball cards, or
right.
Beanie Babies, or whatever they collect, that has a lot of affection and warmth. And then finally, energy. Energy comes from light, sound, people, pets, movement. So the movement of the air conditioning brings energy to a place. If a place feels really still, you can put even the sound of a ticking clock, a traditional clock, will bring movement or sound movement into a place. You can use now with modern screens and TVs, we can have beautiful framed TVs that bring changing images and artwork into the place. Music, of course, music in the background.
Yeah.
We can energize, and also color and dynamic design can bring energy to a place. Water, fish tanks and water features can bring life. So it's about how do we enliven the place. I find a lot of American homes have got way too much of this, actually.
Really?
Yeah. Think about a lot of apartment buildings that are all glass. It's like living in a goldfish bowl, and you're all that, depending on which side of the building are you facing, north, south, east, and west, the quality of light that comes in, you get this problem with bleaching. If you're south facing, the colors bleach after a while, fade.
Yes, I've seen that.
Furniture fades. So how do we control that with shades and blinds so that we're not wilting? Too much sun, too much exposure, overstimulus again. So American homes can be quite over-energized oftentimes, or the energy can be stolen by too much stuff. Too much clutter can suck the life out of the place.
Yeah.
So bad lighting, that's a big one we need to talk about. Modern LED lighting, anything on the blue end of the spectrum, just sucks the life out of you. They say, well, it's good for daylight, which is for daytime tasks, like working. But most people get exhausted in offices with bad light. It's too blue. It's very stressy. You squint. It's really stressy.
It's really harsh, right?
Harsh, exactly. So but we've got other colours in the lighting spectrum. So you can go that really warm, bedroomy, yellowy, warm colour, like a soft light.
For comfort.
Light, and then you've got the middle one, which is sort of soft light. I like to normally work with the soft lights. They normally give enough daylight vibe, but they're more comfortable to work with, and they work well.
Practical.
So all of this is feng shui. These are the principles of feng shui.
Okay, very interesting.
So these are the 5 qualities of balanced design. Remember, feng shui is about balance and harmony. So when we bring this into our design principle, it's really like cooking a meal. Is there enough salt? Is there enough sweetness? Is there enough bitterness or brightness? Or often when you squeeze a little bit of lemon into a stew, it just brightens it.
Yes.
It wakes it up, And so it's the same thing with feng shui and design. We don't have to bring a massive red wall over here. We could just put a pillow on a sofa and boom, it's done.
Yeah.
It's just
pops. Yeah.
Enhancements and feature placements, feature walls, can really do that. And
Mhm.
so, that I would say, without going too deep into it, because there's other, like when I'm working with teaching interior designers, there are other layers that we bring in over the top of this.
Mhm.
They're color-based, color therapy. How can we use color for health?
Okay.
That's a really interesting one. And so
Okay.
there's good science behind that. We know how these colors affect us from mentally, emotionally, and somewhat physically, how they affect our energy, you know.
Okay. All right.
So,
Well, if anybody, if any of the viewers would like to contact you to have some consultation about, perhaps a project they have coming up or just
sure.
general questions about feng shui,
Yeah.
how would they get in touch with you?
Well, if you just
Okay.
Google my name, Will Lestrange,
Okay.
you can, I've got, I'm in 40 cities around America now. We've got offices in 40 cities. And so, depending where you are in the States, if you just Google my name in your city, I'll come up. And even if I come up, if you're in Wyoming and I come up in New York, don't worry, I'm still available. A lot of the work I do is remotely, just like we're doing this now. A lot
Okay.
of my clients will pick up the phone and walk around the home with the phone, and we can
Okay.
figure
Yeah, it
out
could be
what's
done.
really
Yeah.
effective. And so, I've got clients all around. I've been doing this for 30 years now, so I've got a lot of people around the world that I work with. And so, yeah, just Google my name, and you'll find me locally.
Okay. Okay.
Just
And so with Google, if they Google your name, will there be like an email or a contact me area in your website where they can, shoot you an email to make
yeah,
contact?
yeah. Also, you can just go to willlestrange.com and you'll find me that way.
Okay.
That will take you to the website. And yeah, there's a form you can fill in, or there's a phone number. Just give me a call or shoot me a text, and I'll be happy to answer any questions.
Okay.
You know
Perfect.
that.
Okay. Okay, so if you need help either buying or selling a home, I would love to help you. I will put my contact information in the description below, and I'm actually going to put Will's contact information down there as well. So if you didn't catch that last slide, it will be in the description. Please will you like and subscribe? That way, when I come out with a new video all about your home, you'll be notified. And as always, I thank you for watching.